Where will the top NFL free agents land this offseason? In this video, I predict the destination for the next 50 NFL free agents. Part 2 of my free agency predictions, or the middle class and the late additions to this 2022 NFL free agency class, giving you my prediction for their final destination. My choices are based entirely on my opinion for what I feel makes sense both on the field schematically and off the field financially. Before I give you my NFL free agency predictions, make sure that you do spike that like button and subscribe for more BLV NFL free agency predictions just like this. Also, spike that notification bell to be notified when my latest video drops. If you haven't already checked out the rest of the free agency predictions, check out the playlist for all of my free agency predictions, including all the top big names. James Conner was spectacular last season, scoring 18 total touchdowns for the Arizona Cardinals, showcasing his 2018 Pittsburgh Steelers form in a Cardinals uniform. A complete game of size, physicality, and soft hands. You do not let that reliable, well-rounded running back walk. Conner caught 37 of his 39 targets, and even if his efficiency was a bit low on the ground, his value in all other areas is too great to not retain his services. There has been a lot of smoke flying around about the Buffalo Bills upgrading their backfield. Chase Edmonds would be the perfect addition to a pass-happy offense. 96 receptions over the past 2 seasons for the Cardinals, efficient and explosive on the ground, rushing for 5.1 yards per carry. Edmonds is one of my personal favorite running backs, a great route runner from the backfield, in the slot, or out wide. This type of weapon would give defenses another layer to deal with. Rashad Penny came on strong to finish the 2021 season, just in time for a new contract. 4 100-yard games in his final 5, and led the NFL in yards per carry. Crazy to say, but I don't think it's a fluke either, because Penny was a highly touted first-round pick. He really just struggled to stay on the field. His injury history should soften his cap number for any team looking to sign him, but he might be worth the risk, because his potential is immense. The Seahawks might want to double dip at the running back position this free agency. Trading Russell Wilson means you have to rely on the running game a bit more. And as we know, Pete Carroll is not shy about running the football. Ronald Jones is a USC Trojan, which might appeal to good old Petey. On top of that, he's only 24 years old and has flashed a wicked combination of breakaway speed and power in Tampa Bay. Rojo and Penny would be a dynamic combo in Seattle and keep both runners fresh. The Jets could use a vet in their backfield. One who does all the little things well and can be a young quarterback's best friend. Melvin Gordon can still play. So much so that he was keeping Javonte Williams on the sidelines last year. Coming off back-to-back 900-yard rushing seasons, Gordon is a nice fit in LaFleur's system. He can run, catch, and block, adding a reliable every down back to the Jets' offense. Christian Kirk hits free agency at the prime age of 25, coming off his best season yet, nearly cracking 1,000 yards in 2021. Kirk is not a pure number 1 receiver, but he is a talented one who can line up everywhere on the field and adds a rare vertical dimension from the slot. Kirk's pop and age will be intriguing to a number of teams, one of them being Detroit, who could certainly use a talented young wideout like Kirk. The simple fact that Valdes-Scantling is 6'4" with blazing speed will make him some decent money on the open market. I mean, he did lead the NFL in yards per reception in 2020. A spot that does make sense for Valdes-Scantling is Chicago. Not only would this help Justin Fields flourish, the passing game coordinator with Green Bay is the Bears' new offensive coordinator, who would understand how to maximize Valdes-Scantling's speed in the new Chicago offense. It's important to keep Joe Burrow's targets intact. The Bengals aren't hurting for cap space, so it would be surprising if they did not re-sign Uzomah. He's a deceptive athlete who can break plays open through his yards after catch ability, and is a consistent safety blanket option for Burrow when teams are overplaying Chase or Higgins. CJ Uzomah remains a Bengal. Zach Ertz and the Arizona Cardinals seem to have mutual interest in continuing their relationship into 2022. And I would agree, Ertz looked rejuvenated playing for Arizona. His savvy route running skills come in handy in this specific offense. Zach Ertz took over as Arizona's safety net last season, finding success getting open over the middle of the field, actually leading the team in receptions from October on. Ertz re-signing would be beneficial to both parties. I'm not sure the Packers have any cap space left after re-signing Rodgers and franchising Adams, so that means that Robert Tonyan could be one of the many unwanted departures for the Pack. Luckily for Denver, one man's trash is another man's treasure. A Robert Tonyan Hackett team up in Denver, especially after the team traded Noah Fant, almost seems too obvious. Gerald Everett's quick stay in Seattle seems to be over, and the Jets need to add some athleticism to their tight end position. Having played in McVay's offense for most of his career, Everett would easily fit into what Mike LaFleur is hoping to build with Zach Wilson in New York. Jack Doyle retired, Mo Alley Cox is a free agent, meaning the Colts need to be open to adding a tight end. Evan Ingram has been inconsistent throughout his young career, but multiple seasons of 60+ catches is really not too shabby. Frank Reich has utilized Zach Ertz as a hybrid slot receiver in the past, and Ingram could be used similarly, scheming him up advantageous ISO situations. Adding a dynamic mismatch weapon to the slot position for the Colts could be a new look to an offense who has been missing this presence for a while. Following a pair of average seasons as the team's starting left guard in 2019 and 2020, Bozeman slid over to his natural center position and put together the best season of his career. The 27-year-old ranked 11th out of all qualified centers in the NFL according to PFF. His pass blocking grade was top 5 at his position. The O-line will be a point of emphasis for B-More this offseason, and it's crucial the team does everything they can to keep Bozeman this offseason. Despite dealing with his fair share of injuries, Paradis is still a quality starting center, really one of the only redeemable parts of the Panthers' offensive line last year. At 32 years old, a Broncos reunion would be welcomed. Denver is in a championship window now thanks to Russell Wilson, and protection for Russ is essential. Paradis would give a plug and play boost to the interior for 2022. A zone-heavy run game approach in Luke Getsy's new offensive system needs a center who can climb. Allen graded as a top 10 player at his position a year ago and is an ideal scheme fit coming from McVay's zone-heavy attack. Ethan Pocic is a beast of a run blocker, helping pave the way for Rashad Penny's dominant finish to the season. Coming off his best season of his career, I have a feeling Carroll wants the new era of Seahawks football to bring Pocic's physical style of play to the forefront, making it a no-brainer for an extension in Seattle. The Bills are a left guard away from a complete offensive line. Luckily for them, a guard who both Bean and McDermott know quite well is available. While Andrew Norwell is not the all-pro player that he was a few years ago, he remains an elite pass protector in this league. Norwell could use a change of scenery for sure, and it just so happens that his skill set perfectly fits with the Bills and what they love to do on offense: pass the football. It's a perfect match for Buffalo. Joe Douglas has made it a priority to build his team on the line of scrimmage. Alex Kappa just turned 27 and could be another quality piece for this young offensive line. Kappa's toughness and edge is something that Douglas will target, making him the ideal Jet offensive lineman. New Bears GM Ryan Poles is a former offensive lineman and Chiefs front office member, meaning he will prioritize offensive line and most likely those that he might have picked. Poles was the Chiefs' college scouting coordinator from 2010 to 2015. And guess what? Eric Fisher was picked first overall in 2013. I mean, come on, it does not take the Riddler to figure this one out, Batman. Charles Harris went from journeyman to playmaker in 2021 with Detroit. 7.5 sacks, 65 tackles, and 2 forced fumbles. One of 4 NFL players to do that last season, by the way. That should be enough for Harris to be rewarded by Detroit and become a staple of their defensive line. Joe Douglas probably had something to do with the Eagles drafting Derek Barnett, right? And while he may not be the sack specialist that the Eagles thought they drafted in the first round, he is a solid football player. One that could add to the rotation in New York. And we know how much Robert Saleh loves to have layers of depth up front on the D-line. Barnett seems to be a fit with the Jets. Jerry Hughes can still provide a spark for any football team off the edge, creating havoc for the quarterbacks he faces. The Bengals need to upgrade the depth on their D-line, specifically situational pass rushers who can make an impact. Why not steal one from one of your main competitors? Jerry Hughes is going to go to a contender, and why not the Bengals? The 32-year-old Justin Houston demonstrated this past season that he still has plenty left in the tank. While his sack total, 4.5, was the second lowest mark of his career, his quarterback knockdowns, 12, and quarterback hits, 17, were both up from the previous season. Houston was a consistent generator of pass rush and still sets the edge very well. On top of that, Houston can help balance a young position in Baltimore, bringing some experience and leadership. I can't see the Bills letting both Addison and Hughes walk, right? Even at his age, Addison is a strong rotation rusher, and on a contending team that is expected to play deep into January, the deeper, more diverse the rotation, the better. The Bills value a deep rotation, and Addison, he obviously has a connection with Sean McDermott. I can't see him leaving. The versatile, intelligent, instinctual Kyle Van Noy landing with the Raiders, it's perfect for both sides. He has a ton of respect for Josh McDaniels and his staff. Van Noy has lots of familiarity with the scheme. He can play in multiple positions and help develop the defensive culture with the Raiders. He's a leader, he's a winner, plus he's from Reno, so he'd likely be interested in going home, wouldn't he? Dean Pease loves him some Zadarius Smith, and so do I, by the way, and was a major influence on drafting him in Baltimore way back in 2015. With Harold Landry off the board for the Falcons, they could shift their attention to Zadarius Smith, who perfectly fits Pease' defense. You can move Smith around and pretty much rush him from anywhere. He creates pressure and havoc up front, which is exactly what the Falcons desperately need. They need playmakers in their front seven, and Zadarius Smith is the answer. It only makes sense that after 3 seasons and a bunch of money later, that Trey Flowers returns to the Patriots. There are just certain players that Bill Belichick gets the best out of, and Trey Flowers is certainly one of them. He's only 28, which is crazy, and he's an excellent, well-rounded player who can set the edge and move inside to rush the passer. Bring him home, Bill. Larry Ogunjobi is a prototypical interior player for Lovie Smith. You would have almost thought that he played on the 2006 Bears. He's coming off his best statistical season, career high in sacks, tackles for loss, and quarterback hits, making a decent-sized contract warranted. The Texans can afford to pay the D-tackle, who is just hitting his stride. Sheldon Richardson has made 2 stops in Minnesota throughout his career. Something about his style of play must have been preferred by that staff. The Broncos GM, George Payton, will need to fill the gap left by Shelby Harris on the D-line. Richardson can do just that and add more value as an all-around every down player. Sheldon Richardson can play all over the line and is solid both as a pass rusher and run defender. He's a good short-term addition for a team that is all about the short term. While Ndamukong Suh should probably ease up and look for a lower snap count moving forward, he's a Hall of Famer and he can pretty much do what he wants at this point. If he wants to play in Tampa Bay, he'll play in Tampa Bay, and I honestly just don't think he wants to move. I think he's happy with the Bucs, and I believe that the Bucs would love to have him back. So Ndamukong Suh, that rare edge and that presence he brings will be crucial to Tampa moving forward. I just feel like Suh perfectly fits the Bucs. The NFL's tackles leader in 2021 is oddly enough kinda underrated. Oluokun has a nose for the football, great downhill instincts to shoot and blow up the run game. The Lions have a massive hole at linebacker, and Aaron Glenn's defense could use an athletic sideline to sideline flowing linebacker like Oluokun. At only 26, he can be a part of the foundation for the future of the Lions defense. Mike Vrabel bringing in a legendary Patriots linebacker, that's just perfect, right? Dante Hightower almost signed with the Titans in 2017. Maybe 2022 is the right time for both parties. Jamie Collins is still impactful in the pass game, and I saw enough spark and athleticism to believe that he can still be big time. Blitzer, coverage player, just being an athlete and a playmaker. Collins is a rare talent that could be utilized as a chess piece in Don Martindale's scheme and his crazy blitz packages. The fit is perfect with Collins and the Giants. The Steelers need a downhill linebacker with some size and some power. Brian Flores knows Jawan Bentley quite well. Bentley is smart, and his limitations and strengths play very well next to Devin Bush. Just as I brought up with the potential hooker signing for the Texans, Leighton Vander Esch is also a former first-round pick who has shown flashes of ability and high upside. Nick Caserio would often make these kind of moves alongside Bill Belichick in New England, and Vander Esch is another one who fits the bill. Get it? He also fits the style of linebacker in Lovie Smith's defense. And in 2021, Vander Esch showcased that he can still play. Bobby Wagner to the Dallas Cowboys seems like a Madden move, but it does seem pretty accurate. There's familiarity with Dan Quinn, which I think is a huge factor here. I don't see Bobby Wagner wanting to go to a new system. Plus, Bobby Wagner would be so good for the Cowboys. It would be worth giving him a ton of money. It adds maturity to this young, immature defense, and he could help clean up the mental errors that plagued this team and this defense in big games a year ago. Plus, he's still a really good player, and that would be a huge addition to one of the biggest weaknesses of the Cowboys team. It feels like reunion time in Philadelphia. Their linebacker position has not been the same since Jordan Hicks left. He's reliable. He really doesn't miss any games, and he has remained one of the most productive backers in the game. He's a bit older now, 30, but that means he'll be cheaper. Bring in some leadership, stability on the defensive side of the football at that middle linebacker level. You'll be better off for it, Philadelphia. New defensive coordinator of the Vikings, Donatell, was formerly the Broncos defensive coordinator under Vic Fangio for the past 3 seasons. Xavier Woods hit free agency, opening up a starting spot in the secondary, specifically at safety, for Minnesota. The Vikings' new defense is going to need guys that can communicate the new scheme to other players, and Kareem Jackson can do just that. Plus, he's still very solid as a safety. The perfect fit for me at strong safety for the New York Jets is Jordan Whitehead. He's a little bit of a throwback. He has great pursuit in the run game and is a heavy hitter. He makes you feel it. He's one of the biggest hitters in the NFL. He's young, and Robert Saleh will love the edge this guy plays with. The Ravens have really never attempted to replace Earl Thomas, and it just doesn't feel right that the Ravens don't have good safety play. Justin Reed might be a little bit cheaper than he should be this offseason, and if the Ravens can get him, they have to jump on it. He flies around the field. He's good in all types of coverage, and I believe this would be an excellent signing to shore up the back end of Baltimore. Yes, Jaquiski Tartt did drop the ball. I get it, Niners fans, I get it. But it would be a drop ball by the 49ers if they did not bring him back. He had a great year last year, and really his biggest issue has always been health, because when he's on the field, he's a good football player and nearly irreplaceable for this team. Tartt, back to San Francisco. If Tampa Bay loses out on Whitehead, a good replacement who has the versatility of pass bowl safeties is Jabril Peppers. Peppers is on the smaller side, but he plays with a huge heart. He brings energy, athleticism, and hard-hitting run defense. He also can return punts. He's similar to Whitehead at a lower cap hit and adds more range in coverage and special teams value. Tracy Walker has had a bit of an up and down beginning to his career. But with the circumstances, can you really blame the guy? As one of the players who benefited the most from the new regime, Walker has expressed a strong desire to return to the Lions in 2022. It would make sense to keep Walker as one of their core young players through their transition period. The Bears are reshaping their roster. Retooling it with youngish players is a way to go when signing free agents. Terrell Edmunds has improved with every season. He's only 25 years old, he won't cost a ton of money, and he has plenty of room to grow as an athletic strong safety with a rare combination of speed and size. Robert Saleh knows just how good Jason Verrett can be when healthy. No one in their right mind is going to dish out the dough for this cornerback. But if Verrett can stay healthy, you know that you're going to get a steal of a free agent and a starting corner. Low risk, high reward. The Indianapolis Colts need a boost at cornerback. One of the players they have been tied to early in the process is Rasul Douglas. Douglas does his best work with the eyes on the quarterback. He has a knack for reading and reacting to quarterbacks' eyes, jumping on routes, and footballs. Douglas would be a great fit in the Gus Bradley defense. He's got the size and the length that this scheme usually covets, and the quick acceleration to jump the football in zone coverage. The Eagles are a heavy zone coverage team who need smart corners who can read a quarterback and an offense and react. It also helps if they can tackle. And at this point of his career, Joe Hayden is a perfect scheme fit for the Eagles. He's thrived in zone coverage happy teams with the Steelers for the last few seasons. Plus, Hayden wouldn't have to go very far at all to find a new home. DJ Reed has quietly been one of the NFL's most underrated cornerbacks. He's the polar opposite of the long, lanky outside corners that head coach Pete Carroll usually covets. But while size didn't match it, the aggression, the physicality, that certainly does. He's a phenomenal tackler and a very smart football player. Reed also offers versatility, having started out wide and in the slot. At just 25, Reed should be a priority re-sign for the next generation of Seahawk defense. K'Waun Williams has been the unsung hero of the Niners defense for quite some time, holding the Niners secondary together last year. As their do-it-all nickel corner, Williams is key to their coverage, their run defense, not to mention the occasional blitz. He's not a big name player, but he certainly is an important one. I can't see the Niners letting him walk. Brian Flores is now the linebacker coach with the Steelers. He brought Justin Coleman to the Dolphins and could very well do the same with the Steelers. Coleman has versatility playing in man and zone heavy schemes throughout his career. He is best suited as a zone nickel corner and could provide some quality veteran depth to a thin Steelers secondary. Arguably the most consistent corner for the Texans a season ago was Desmond King. Houston is interested in bringing him back as he is an important chess piece for their defense, playing in a multitude of roles in 2021. King signed cheaper than I thought he would a year ago, so rewarding him is on the to-do list for Houston. Those are my predictions for the next 50 NFL free agents. Let me know yours in the comment section below. It's Mitch, thanks for watching, and make sure to check out the rest of my NFL free agency content. See ya in the next video. Peace.